The Genuine Article. Discussion and commentary based on articles from JACC.
Hello, I'm Tony DeMaria, the editor of JACC, here with another edition of The Genuine Article, and I'm talking to Dr. Vijay Nambi. And Dr. Nambi is a member of the ARIC study group, and he's just published a paper in JACC that, for the first time, provides us with some really good evidence that measuring intimomedial thickness and plaque of the carotid artery can be of significance in risk stratification of patients with coronary disease. Vijay, tell us a little bit about your study.
It's a pleasure to be here. So what we did in our study was the ARIC study, as you know, is the atherosclerosis risk and community study. It's an epidemiological study similar to the Framingham risk study that has been tracking cardiovascular disease incidence over about 20 years. So they had baseline ultrasound data which included the measurement of the intermediate thickness of the carotid arteries. So now the follow-up is almost 15 to 17 years. So we used the data of the ARIC follow-up to evaluate if addition of IMT can help us improve risk stratification.
So this 15 to 17-year follow-up really gave you hard events that you could use as your independent gold standard for the significance of the IMT and plaque.
Right, absolutely. So we had in all about 1,822 incident events over this time period. We used everything that's used in the Framingham risk equation. So it included coronary revascularization, but that was only about 650 events. So about 1,200 or so of the events were hard endpoints, definite myocardial infarctions or heart, coronary heart disease related death. So we added IMT and plaque, presence or absence of plaque, to both the ARIC coronary risk score, which is similar to the Framingham risk score, and the Framingham risk score separately to see if it improves risk prediction.
Yeah, now how much IMT, how much plaque?
So what we did was to make it easy for clinical applicability, we divided the IMT into, less than 25th percentile, 25th to 75th percentile, and greater than 75th percentile. And the plaque was just a yes or no. It was qualitatively determined in the original ARIC visits when they read this, and there were certain criteria for definition, including protrusion, the quality of the vessel wall, etc. And what we did was we added this to the traditional risk equation to see what happened with risk prediction.
And what did you find?
So, as has been said in ATP3, and a lot of statements that IMT may have a value, we indeed found that IMT may have a value. In fact, what was interesting was IMT seemed to have a lot more additive effect in men compared to women, while plaque seemed to have a lot more additive effect in women compared to men. But taken together, the overall cohort, adding IMT plus plaque gave you the most benefit. It improved all statistical metrics of improving risk prediction, including the contemporary statistical methodologies such as net reclassification and the AUC discrimination and calibration.
Was this a linear kind of relationship? The more IMT, the more plaque, the greater the risk?
Right. So it was modeled in the fact that if you had greater than 75th percentile, you were given a higher risk weightage. In the same way, if you had plaque, you were given a higher risk weightage. The one thing we didn't do, technology didn't exist in 1987-89, was to actually, volumetrically quantitate the amount of plaque. This was just a presence yes or no. It was just a qualitative yes or no for as far.
Yeah, but that still would be something that would be easily attainable, even at a bedside examination with some of these smaller ultrasound units that are becoming available.
Absolutely. And IMT, as you know, it's a good, easy screen. The thing is, you have to have a good person who knows how to do it to be able to get you reliable estimates. But a sweep for presence of absence of plaque and looking at the IMT, it would take you 15-20 minutes in a good lab to be able to do that.
Sure. So now, how would you see the application of this? Do you think we ought to be screening the carotids in everybody or just those patients at intermediate risk?
I firmly believe it should be in the intermediate risk. What you would notice in our study is when we reclassified individuals, nobody went from the lowest risk to the highest risk, and nobody went from the highest risk to the lowest risk. Most of the action happened in the intermediate risk where they went up or below one risk range. We kind of subdivided the intermediate risk group, what's traditionally considered 5 to 20%, we subdivided into 5 to 10 and 10 to 20%. And we saw that, the risk increases as you go up further, and there's reclassification almost about 35% of the individuals in these risk groups. So 1 in 3 people could get potentially reclassified by adding IMT, either up or below. And I must add also that more people were reclassified down than up.
Now, very quickly, based upon this, do you think that ATP ought to consider adjusting cholesterol goals based upon the presence or absence of increased C-IMT or plaque?
I think this this gives us a first concrete evidence that IMT can help in risk classification, reclassification, and prediction. The loop that hasn't been completed is if we choose individuals like this and treat them, do we make any benefit in them? But if you were to extrapolate from other risk predicting markers, adding this may help us reclassify. Now, personally, I think if somebody is up classified, I would treat them more aggressively. But if they're down classified, I necessarily would not back off on the level of treatment that I would do.
Sure, I suspect this is really very important data, I believe, hard data, and I suspect most physicians, until they get the firm answer of whether intervention is a benefit or not, are probably going to err on the side of intervention.
I agree.
Thanks a million for being with us.
Thank you.
For The Genuine Article, I'm Tony DeMaria.
The Genuine Article. Discussion and commentary based on articles from JACC.